Hey, what's up, guys? Christian Brindle here. Welcome back to the Seven Figures or Bust podcast, the number one podcast in the world for growing your insurance business to seven figures. I'm joined with another amazing guest here today, someone who is a friend of the channel, going to be at our event this coming June, someone that we've been able to collaborate super, super well. And I've learned a ton from over the years in my own right on advertising and marketing, the one and only Justin Thomas. Justin, how are you today?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. I love the name, Seven Figures or Bust. It's a good
Seven
name.
figures or bust. Seven figures or bust. And who better than you, right, to be a guest on this? Um,
Thank you.
so I want to I want to so I think a majority of people that are going to see this know you. They see you on their screens all the time. You're always popping up on people on news feeds and videos and everything else like that. Um,
Yep.
but let's kind of take it back to the beginning a little bit, right? Like, talk a little bit about what got you into insurance. Because with your ability to market and your ability to build and grow organizations and scale through paid advertising, you could do, you could go into pretty much any niche and probably just crush it with your abilities. What led you to insurance?
Yeah, that's a great question. Um, I'm surprised. I know I've been on like your YouTube channel and stuff. I'm surprised I don't think you and I specifically have gone into this much, but I got in the insurance industry to start out with in college, like 2014, 2015. Northwestern Mutual does this like internship for college students, and their marketing is brilliant because their marketing is the number one rated the number one internship like in the nation, and like it's really vague as to like what it is, other than the fact that it's like an internship, and like college kids are looking for internships, and they're a business, but from the outside in, you don't really know like what you're going to do, you don't really know what's going on, and then you start interviewing, and still you don't really know like what it's going to be like, and then once you get in, it's basically the exact same thing as if you get hired as a full-time insurance agent. You just get a little bit more training and a little bit more hand holding, and so you get brought in, and their entire process is built on this guy who did sales training, Al Granum, and it was all about numbers. Like you get you contact or like reach out to 100 people or dial 100 people, you're going to get a hold of 10. Out of 10, you're going to set an appointment with three, and you're going to write one policy or something like that. That's probably not exactly right, but it's all about numbers games. And so with that, then they have you create your Power 100 or Power 300. I think it depends on which office you're in. And this is not the only company that does this. I think a lot of the captive life insurance companies do this model because it works for them as a company, and it works for some agents depending on your personality and your skills, and you know what you like to do. But you go make a list of 100 or 300 friends and family, and then they start doing sales training, which was decent. I mean, I had no sales training at the time. At this point, I probably spent close to $200,000 in sales and sales team training, sales team management training. So looking back, it's not the same caliber of sales training I've had now at this point, but it's better than, probably what the independent IMOs are going to give you, where they're throwing you out. And I don't know, that's a little bit more nuanced because it depends on who the agent that's actually training you. But
Right.
you really get trained. All the sales training is on like setting appointments. And so you just start calling that list of friends and family, and um, just trying to get them to sit down with you in a coffee shop or something like that. And like
Make
I
them feel
was,
uncomfortable.
yeah, for real. I was like 19, and like my mom's a lawyer, my dad works for the FDIC, and I like I was like, hey, give me a list of everyone you know that actually makes money, because I'm tired of meeting with all my friends that don't make any money and have no reason for life insurance right now. So like I'm calling these people that are like they don't want to sit down and talk about their money with a 19-year-old that's like an intern. But I do end up setting appointments, and then you go run those appointments with one of the full-time agents, and he pretty much runs the whole thing. So it's kind of you like trick them to show up, and then they actually get pitched insurance by somebody that's got some sales skills. And anyway, it's an interesting model for sure. But I uh I spent most of my time there in that position, I did it for a year. I spent most of my time like on LinkedIn looking for people I had connections with that would actually have a reason to buy life insurance. And even then it wasn't necessarily like looked down on, but I would get like comments like, "Hey, why aren't you dialing?" Because I'd be on the computer like trying to use technology to save time. And so my brain just like honestly, it's because I'm lazy. It's because I don't want to just do like just because I'm told to do something doesn't I almost always feel like there's going to be a better way for me to do it more efficiently with less of my own labor and less mistakes. That's just how my brain has always worked. And so I didn't know the power of Facebook ads or YouTube ads or anything like that. But that brought me in the insurance world to begin with. And then I'll make this next part short because I've got other videos and I can talk about this for a really long time. But ended up graduating, got a job that had the highest base. I had a couple sales jobs and a couple other ones that I had offers for. For me, I'm like, I'm gonna take the one with the highest base so that I can just get guaranteed and just like chill and that's it. So it ended up being like a management trainee position. And really like there was no structure, whatever going on. Me and my best friend played catch with a football in the warehouse like 5 hours a day, and we were getting paid 45K a year to do this. And so got bored with that eventually and started looking at how to make money online. Spent all my time at that job trying to figure out how I could quit this job and like be responsible and create my own income and stop having to show up at the same. Like I hated being an employee. I've been fired from quite a few quite a few jobs in my life. I'm just not meant to be an employee. I got fired from a lifeguard position. Other ones,
Did you
yeah.
let someone
Anyway, I'm just
drown?
not. No, I didn't, but it just I think one time there's some funny stories that could come out of this. What and I got to make sure I don't get in trouble. One time I fell asleep with my sunglasses on, and so that was a warning. And then I think after that, I think I just showed up late a few times, and they're like, "Nah, we're done with you here." But yeah, I was never the type of person that was meant to be an employee. I value my own freedom. I value my own riskiness. Like I want to put the hands of my financial success in my hands and no one else's, and I always have.
Yeah.
And so ended up figuring out how to start an e-com company, started a weighted blanket business that created enough money that I could quit my job. And then from there, it was enough money, but it wasn't like as much as I'd want to make. And I didn't see huge growth potential in that. And there's a ton of logistics when you have any sort of physical product business. So you run out of stock, you have to deal with that. I didn't like that. And so started an advertising agency with my fiance at the time, my now wife, not teaching, running ads for businesses because I had learned how to run ads for the ecom business. And we had a random assortment of clients. So we had an esthetician, we had a dentist here in Omaha. Then we partnered with a guy in St. Louis who had a PNC agency, but he was trying to do like this social media agency. And he had gotten some clients, but he didn't know how to run the ads for them. So he was good at sales, but he didn't know how to fulfill on it. So he needed a partner to help with that. Um, so his clients were two Krav Maga gyms. We had a gas station outside of St. Louis. We had his PNC agency, and then just some other insurance agents from ones that I knew and others that he knew, because he had also been a part of NAA, National Agents Alliance, which is kind of like FFL for life insurance. And out of all of our clients, the insurance ones we just crushed it for. Everybody else was just like kind of okay. And that's because I just knew the business model. And the
Hmm.
one thing that Northwestern did really, really well was product knowledge. And so I knew how to look at and structure whole life policies for more than just the death benefit. I knew how to do it for cash value. I knew how to think of it as a retirement tool. It taught me how to think of insurance products in outside of the box ways, because that's how those types of agents sell. But that really helped me on the marketing side of things, because I think a lot of agents, no matter what products they're selling, they can speak and sell really, really well, but none of them have taken that skill over to the marketing side of things, because
Yeah.
the concept of putting it into ads is the scary part. And a lot of times they'll even tell themselves, like, I don't know what to say. But some of the ways that they explain things just across the table from a prospect, that's perfect to go into your marketing. And so, yeah, so then ended up focusing only on insurance agents, did that for about a year, actually running the ads for insurance agents and agencies. and then started the consulting business that I have now in 2019.
Got it. Got it. And I think one thing that jumped out at me that you said there was like, I think there's so much truth and wisdom in what you just said about agents all the time never know what to say when they're doing any type of marketing, right? Whether they're doing a Facebook ad or whatever the case might be, they're trying to drive traffic to a landing page. Like, what do I say? Like, what? Well, I don't understand what to say. And some of these people are like people that are top producers, like I was one of those people. I was a great like salesperson, but when I first started to learn how to market, I'm like, what do I say? And like it's so true. Like if you would just take what you'd say at the kitchen table with somebody and then just put that in writing and type in your ad copy, that can be very effective because it's effective when you're selling. It'd be effective as well when you're running it as an ad.
And nowadays you got Chat GPT, so you can write it out super poorly and then throw it into Chat GPT and say, hey, write this for me as an ad. And it'll fix up your grammar, it'll fix the spacing for you, it'll do all that stuff for you. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's the foundation. There are other like tricks and structures to copy, but for the most part, copy is sales in words. And so if you know how to sell, you know how to write copy. If you know how to write copy, you can be a marketer, you can be an advertiser. You're probably, and when I say you, I'm speaking to every single person listening to this, you're probably better at marketing and advertising than any agency you can go hire because you know the experiences you have, you know the stories you have, you know the pain points of every single one of your customers. If you've sold like, somebody brand new, maybe not, but if you sold like 10, 20, 50, 100, by the time you have 100 sales, like you're going to beat every external marketer that's going to come and try and represent your business just
Yeah.
from your experiences.
100%. Like there's been people that we've seen, I think both of us have seen, I won't name any names, of course, but like that have come into the insurance space and they're marketers from other spaces and they struggle. Like
Yeah.
they're trying to sell marketing, they're trying to like teach agents how to market and that kind of thing, but like they're not from our world. And so like they don't understand the niche, and
Yeah.
that's super, I think there's so much truth in that because I you know, knowing marketing for your specific niche and kind of zeroing in on that, I think helps you be so much more effective than just like someone who's broad, right? That like tries to teach advertising for anybody.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, even especially, most of your viewers, I would guess, are in the Medicare space. It's even more so important in the Medicare space. So everything I just told you about, that's life insurance. Like that was my intro into the industry. And so for me as a strategic business move, I was like, we can teach agents to advertise for Medicare, but I need to learn it better. And so strategic business move was like, sure, I can go start a Medicare. I already have my license. So I can go take AHIP. I can go learn how to sell this. I can give myself some credibility. I could make a few sales, really get in the heads of these prospects and then teach it. Or I can just go out there and find who's the best person doing this right now. And that's what I did. I went and found Josh on the mastermind side. He's running this webinar, he's doing it. And so by being able to go strategically partner with him, I shortcutted years of me trying to do it myself. But by doing that, I watched his webinar now probably like 50 times. I could probably deliver it myself. I could probably sell a Medicare policy now just by osmosis, by being around it.
yep.
And no marketing company is going to do that. Like for one-off client that sells insurance, they're not going to sit through that amount of content or whatever is needed to like really know the ins and outs of all the stuff when it comes to Medicare.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I totally agree. So question that I have for you is like, there's a lot of regulations that are coming out right now, right? Like on so many different fronts. There's Medicare regulations that are coming down, that have come down like every year. It seems like clockwork. We have the SEC stuff coming out. I feel like your trainings and what you're teaching is more necessary right now than it's probably ever been. Not that it's ever not been necessary or useful, but like, do you feel that way too? Do you feel like these extra regulations and these extra tightening on agents and agency owners is ultimately just a good thing for you?
Yeah, there's been a couple things since I started this that have been very interesting how they played out. The first one was COVID, when everybody had to learn to go sell over the phone, that really helped us a ton because they don't want to, most agents didn't want to take their in-home direct mail leads that they were all working and then start calling those and try to sell over the phone. That felt really weird to them. And so we had a huge influx of people wanting to work with us to learn how to generate leads that were already prepped for, hey, this is going to be a virtual call. We, depending on the product, you get them a good amount of information before they're even on the first call to make that, to make I don't even call it telesales the way that we do it. Even though it is over the phone or over Zoom. To me, telesales implies that you're like sitting either in your home office or in a call center and you're just dialing. The way that we advertise is people come to you. And so even though it's over the phone, it's just like a normal conversation. But putting things in their ads so that they could have the sales cycle just as short as if they were meeting in person or even shorter by pre-educating people. And so that was a huge thing. And now, yeah, I'm sure that I'm not probably in the know of every single regulation that you're talking about. I try to listen to some of like the big ones, but for the most part, I don't keep super up to date on those. But one of the ones that I've seen coming across is like the FCC with like buying and selling leads. I mean, I'm imagining that that's going to be pretty huge for us because if whatever, I haven't really read that too much, but I've just heard people talk about that one specifically of like, you're not going to be able to buy leads that like you don't have your name on, that you're not branded. And ideally, if you don't generate it yourself, then it's going to be a lot tougher to have those leads work. And so, yeah, I mean, like it's insurance industry is such a weird industry to me
It's true.
when other industries and other marketing, because like if I were to just go start a business, I think the first thing first is that like a lot of agents don't think of it as a business. They think of it as a job. And they're already putting themselves at a disadvantage by doing that for the most part, unless LOA and everything's provided. But if you are 1099 and everything's the same as a business, but you tell yourself it's a job, you're already at a disadvantage. So that's the first thing. So realize that like you are starting a business. And then this is where the industry is weird, is that like if I go start like a lawn care business, or if I go start a car detail business, as far as I know, like you can't just go buy leads for those things. Like those types of businesses have to learn how to advertise themselves, because there's not just companies out there that are just generating. Honestly, there may be, but like for the most part with like normal businesses, if you're going to advertise, you have to learn how to advertise yourself and how you're different and your unique selling proposition compared to all the other competitors in the market. But in insurance, leads are such a prevalent thing, and they've been ingrained in the industry for 30 to 50 years that like it's caused the industry to be so sales focused and nothing else focused. And so everything in the industry, Medicare, health, life, annuity, like whatever, annuities may be slightly different because it's always been harder to get annuity leads in comparison to the other three, but everything is so focused in on a sales lens. It's through a sales lens. And so, yeah, but yeah, I think that this may finally make the industry more level playing field, I guess would make it the best way to say, because it just like the people that are going to actually learn skills other than just sales they'll be the ones that exceed. They'll be the ones that really take things far, and they already are. Like, you look at anybody that's doing huge numbers, they don't just sell. They control the marketing. They're adding other products. They're advertising themselves. They do more than just sell.
This video is brought to you by the 7-Figure Medicare Agent Summit. Guys, have you ever wanted to get around other professionals and the best of the best in the Medicare space if you're a Medicare agent? There's something to be said about networking and learning what other people are doing around the country, and they might just have some ideas that you may never have thought of before. It's also something to be said about learning from the best of the best. The most successful people in the insurance space collaborate, talk with others, and they have a mentality that we all are in this together and we share ideas and grow together. The 7-Figure Medicare Agent Summit is the premier event for Medicare agents. It is highly affordable. It has a great reputation of being some of the best content you're going to find at any event. There's so many events out there that are nothing but pitch fests, or half of the speakers are employees for the agency that host the event, and there's not really any real agency builders, or very few that actually take the stage and speak. At the Seven Figure Medicare Agent Summit, you get nothing but the best of the best talent from all over the industry. It's not based on hierarchy. It's not based on anything like that. We all are coming together as Medicare agents to grow and learn and get better. You can get information on who the speakers are for this year's event and ticket prices down in the link of this description. We would love to see you at the Seven Figure Medicare Agent Summit. Yeah, 100%. And the thing that's always, I found so weird always about insurance is like technology wise and like, innovation wise, it's always so far behind a lot of other industries. It's always been that way too. Like,
Yeah.
I remember when I started as an agent 10, 11 years ago, whatever it is now, like at that point in time, specifically on the Medicare side, there was such compliance fear of Medicare Advantage. Like Medicare Advantage wasn't even 10 years old at that point. And there was such just concern about doing anything that had to do with Medicare Advantage. So like there weren't even e-apps, like like no carriers had e-apps. Sunfire wasn't a thing. Like none of that stuff to do enrollment tools that we have now were a thing. Like we literally had to use paper apps. There wasn't a way to compliantly do it. You couldn't compliantly sell it over the phone. And even back then when I started, right, 2013, 2014, that type of 2015, that kind of range, all these other industries were like so caught up, like doing a paper in application was like it was like unheard of even back then for other businesses.
Yeah.
But like for Medicare and specifically, like you had to do it that way. It's just really weird, and I think that's a great point, because what other business out there is like, oh, I need some leads, need to buy some leads. It's not a thing, like it's like Glengarry Glen Ross kind of stuff.
I know. And it makes, I don't know, it's weird. I'm pretty passionate about this because it like, so many people get sold into the insurance industry, on both sides, health and life. And they get sold like this dream, and it's tied in with MLMs, and they are truly starting a business, but they're not taught any of the skills needed to run a business except maybe a mediocre version of sales.
Yeah.
And then they're expected to like succeed. And then it's no wonder that the fail rate is like 92, 95%. And yeah, I mean, I don't know it's such a big industry. There's so much momentum. There's so many new people coming in every single month through all these huge recruiters. I don't know like what would finally be the thing to like change the norm. But I don't know. I think it would do a lot of good for the industry. I think even from the top down, I think that if anybody being brought in was taught more business skills, more people would stick around. The retention rate of agents would be higher, which would create more revenue for uplines and carriers and IMOs and everything. I don't know. I think that like a lot of them are stuck in their ways, so it'll be really, really hard to move that way. But yeah, I mean, you start, like I said, a lawn company or a auto detailing, and like you're in Facebook groups, you're messaging people, you're putting out flyers, you're doing all these traditional things that like insurance agents can just skip and just say, hey, no, I don't do marketing. That's not a skill that I'm going to do. I'm just going to sell. And that's just such a bad way to look at running a business, because we're one dimensional. You can't really grow. And it's not a huge asset either if you don't have all these other things that make your business truly proprietary.
Yeah, 100%. Like you don't have anybody to talk to for one. You can't sell your way out of a paper bag. It doesn't matter, because you're talking to the mirror. Question I wanted to kind of pivot to on this, that I was kind of curious about. So last year, like, September or so, I come out to Omaha for Thrive with Josh, right? The three of us are hanging out together. And I remember this pretty vividly. Like we're playing pool at your office. By the way, it's sick, by the way. If anyone hasn't seen like the video of it, go like check out Justin's video. It's like him in this giant warehouse office, and like all these things in it. It's just like just him. and he doesn't want
We
to bring
actually
people
have
in.
tenants now. We have tenants now.
Oh, good,
My video
good.
production team, they occupy the bottom floor.
Actually, that's not good because it was so like it was so like oh, like look at all this stuff Justin has. Um,
I know.
now it won't be as fun for me to visit, but um,
I'll kick him
so,
out.
so anyway, I remember like we're playing pool, we're hanging out, and I don't think I realized. I always thought we were like the same age, or maybe you were a few years older than me, but like
Oh, really?
I did, and like, and then come to find out, if I remember correctly, like you're under 30 still,
Yeah,
and
I turned 29 in December.
so
So
at such a young age, right? Like all of the knowledge that you have, not just the marketing and advertising knowledge, but the business knowledge you have is vast. You've obviously put a ton of work in terms of learning all this stuff, right? And kind of like educating yourself on business growth, business development, on top of all the advertising and digital marketing skills you have. Were there some people that you kind of credit for being like, I learned the most from like this guy? Is there like a short list of people that you've learned the most from?
yeah, I'd say probably the number one most impactful person has been his name's Cole Gordon. His company is called closers.io. It's a very specific he teaches how to do sales and sales team management for consulting businesses like mine. But honestly, the sales training can absolutely be applied to any industry. He just has a niche, just the same way that I have a niche. And he used to work for a company called Traffic and Funnels, and one of the owners of that, his name is Taylor Welch, and I also am in his mastermind. So he's also a mentor of mine. I would say that like between the two, those have been two really impactful people from a actually getting to like go to their events, hear them speak. Mostly everything comes from like the mistakes they've made, which is like what I like to share, the mistakes that I've made. It, just knowing what not to do can save you years, and
Yep.
depending on how big your business is, millions of dollars. And so that's been huge. Really learning how to manage, learning one, learning sales is great. Once you learn sales, you can make money for the rest of your life whenever you want. From there, so I don't like selling. I got pretty good at it, I would say, but I don't like it. It really drains me to get on one-on-one calls with people, just my personality. But I love listening to sales calls and coaching my team on sales calls. So then the next level up was learning how to manage a sales team. And I think if you can learn how to manage a sales team, you can translate to managing any department in a business. But it comes down to systems. And for me, it's like we the main things that have helped with managing a sales team, and again, I got this from Cole, but we do a sales team meeting every single day, Monday through Friday. Ours right now is at 9 a.m. till 10 a.m. And on that call, we're setting projections based on KPIs that they need to hit. The sales team is going to be around sales, the marketing team is going to be around marketing, but every single team in your business needs to have KPIs, key performance indicators, that actually has it's data backing that they're performing in your business. And if you don't have, if you don't have KPIs, if you don't have data that's going to show that they're hitting their numbers, then most likely you're not going to have a high performance team, because that's where you get into businesses where people just spend half the day being like, yeah, I'm on the computer, but I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing because I wasn't told to do it. And so they need to
Right.
have direct KPI. So set projections, and then we're doing coaching and training. And then, dude, salespeople need to constantly be monitored, because you'll tell them one thing this week and they'll implement it, and then they'll go close like, $50,000 of business that week. And then the next week, they'll go back to the same thing that you just fixed.
Yeah.
And it just happens. And so like they have to constantly be managed, they have to constantly be coached. And that's where, like, for me, a downline model is
It's
I
challenging.
don't know if I should.
Let's just call it like it is,
Yeah.
right? Like it's
I've got
challenging.
I've got
Like,
a funny so analogy. All right. So I've heard this. I'm not a proponent of communism in any sort of way, but I've heard that people say that, like, if communism worked the way that it was supposed to work, then it works well. Same with socialism. But the problem is that like humans are humans. And the second that you take away any sort of um, motivation from them, it all falls apart.
Right.
And the downline model is the same way. Like the model of downlines, sure, if you had all entrepreneurial type people and they all were responsible for their stuff and they all crushed it, it's an amazing model. But the truth is, out of 100 downline agents, you'll probably have three writing, maybe 10 if you're lucky. And just salespeople in general, they just need to be managed. And so that's why, anyway, I'll digress. We went off on a little bit of a tangent, but
Yeah.
um, I think learning to run a sales team has really helped. I think learning to step back and like look at my business. I'm also a part of Dan Sullivan's strategic coach. That's really helped me as an individual. It teaches the concepts of like how you as an entrepreneur can perform at the highest, which then can give the most to your business. So a few things I've learned there is like the entrepreneurial time system, where you either have free days, focus days, or buffer days. Focus day is that whole day is focused on revenue generating activities. A free day, you're not allowed to think about business. And most entrepreneurs, they don't actually have free days. They, at some point on a Sunday or a Saturday, they're thinking about business. And so that's why they get burnt out. And the reason that you want to have full free days where you're not thinking about it is to replenish yourself so you can come back with full energy for the days that you're there. So I don't know. There's just been, I think the reason that I've been able to implement and learn things so fast is because I've paid people to tell me what's important and what mistakes that they've made. And then I've just made a lot of mistakes myself, but I just keep always trying to leverage myself up from the next skill to the next skill to the next skill and bringing like I want Insurance Advertising Masters to be a company that's valuable. I really at this point, and you may have noticed, and anybody else watching may have noticed and will continue to notice that like I'm trying to get away from being the face of it because one, companies have more enterprise value when it's about the company, not a single person. And
Yeah.
two, I think that there are so many talented human beings that are in my network. And right now we have a copywriter on staff that's better at copy than me. We have a sales director on staff that's better at sales than I am. So if we ever have somebody ask questions on sales, he can come in. We like I just want my team to be good right now. And I'm just continuing to level up in that way. Just leverage, leverage, leverage is what I keep pushing for.
I love it. Good stuff, brother. I could talk to you for another hour. I really could. I want to be respectful of your time, but before we close this thing out, I want to talk about the mastermind real quick. So you mentioned Josh Lustig earlier. You guys are working together on this mastermind. It's essentially designed, from my interpretation, tell me if I have it correct, that everybody in the mastermind is people that are very, one, serious people, right? Serious people about their business, entrepreneurial focused, already doing relatively well already, to
Medicare.
try to grow their business, right? To seven figures, right? To break that seven figure mark and kind of come together and learn and share and exchange ideas. Talk about this mastermind a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you for that. It's Medicare only. So you have to
Okay.
be focused on Medicare. The whole point of, I think, a successful mastermind is having the hive mind of multiple different people that are all heading in one direction. And so for us, it's called the and agent mastermind. And the reason it's called that is because we live by the principle that we want to have a successful business and have time for our family and our loved ones. We want to make a ton of money and have time to do the things that we love. It's not an or world, it's an and world. Josh has been saying that for years. I believe it. I kind of came and put it all together with, some of his ideas and what we were talking about, but that's what we believe. And so if anybody doesn't believe that and they think that it's like everything's about business, it's okay if I sacrifice, you know, my time, maybe I'm going to push off, having a family, whatever it may be that doesn't align with it, then we're probably not a good fit for you because every single person in that mastermind aligns with the and concept. And that's the direction they're heading, is how to have a crazy successful Medicare business and have time to do things that they love. And when you are heading in that direction, there's a few key concepts that create that outcome for people. And yeah, like you said, it's really for people that take their business seriously. We do have a requirement to get in. Typically, people need to be at or around six figures in renewals before this is going to be a fit for them. We want to protect the integrity of the group. We have some seven-figure earners in there already. And so it's not really about getting to a certain number, but it's about this and concept. It's moving towards more money and more time for the owner, and also great opportunities for people that you can hire along the way. You know, one of our agents, when he came in, he had 3 downline agents, immediately switched them to LOAs, which they were okay with. They started making more money in an LOA fashion, and they could just focus on getting really good at sales. And now he has 11. So he's been able to create business opportunity for an additional, what is that, 8 people or something like that, in just 1 year. And so that's the key concepts that go into that are, in order to create scale at a way that doesn't create more time stress for you, you need a demonstration asset. You need something that you can send people to that's going to sell for you, that's going to have no time constraints, meaning it's going to sell for you 24/7, 365, and it's going to turn them into teed up people for you to become clients. And so the best way we found to do that for turning 65 people in Medicare is an online webinar. So that's the first thing. Once you have a webinar, then it's just sending traffic to that through whatever means you can send traffic through. So for us, the easiest way to get people started is Facebook ads, but it could also be YouTube ads, TikTok ads, Google ads. You could go on a podcast that has listeners that are in the age demographic, get traffic that way. You could buy a ad in the newspaper, send traffic that way. You could be sending out direct mail, put a QR code on the direct mail. It doesn't matter where you get traffic once you have that demonstration asset, but we got to get people to it. Then once that happens, you've created a system. The definition of a system is something that is standardized and repeatable. And so once it's standardized and repeatable, then it's scalable. Systems are scalable. So you just need to put more traffic in, and you get more teed up clients on the back end for you, and they're coming to you because of the work of that system. Then from there, we scale that up until the agent can no longer handle the appointments themselves, and then they need to replicate themselves. This is where the and agent comes back in, because we don't want the agents to just be bogged down and now all of a sudden they're spending 60 hours a week doing sales calls. No, use some of that money in order to buy back some of your time, then leverage yourself up to make more money. It's just a constant staircase. Buy time, make more money. Buy time, make more money. And we have trainings that keep moving people along in that process. And that's really the whole concept of the thing.
I love it. Where can people find out more? Where can people learn more about it?
Yeah, so I have my own demonstration asset that I have been working on for a while. It's not out yet, but when it is, there'll probably be a YouTube video on my channel. But there already is a YouTube video that has a little bit of a synopsis. It's a review video from one of the most recent events. So my YouTube channel, Insurance Advertising Masters, you can go there. You can send us in an email. Best email to send it to would probably be hello@insuranceadvertisingmasters.com, and then have that demonstration asset ready here probably in, I don't know. It's kind of on the back burner right now, but maybe next couple months it'll be out. But yeah, we're not really trying to scale it massively right now either, because everything that we teach in there comes directly from either Josh's agency that he's running or what I'm doing on accounts that I personally manage. And so we don't really want this to be something that we just blast out to the industry and, tens of thousands of people or even thousands of people are running the same model. We want this to be, more kind of for tight-knit people that are looking to have longer term mentorship relationships with people and be in a group that really fit that and concept, that and principle. Because if this just gets in the hands of people that don't really care about that, then it'll saturate, and it just, it'll saturate quicker. It could get in the hands of like call centers and things like that, which we really don't want to do. And so we're just trying to keep this a more tight-knit program on this side of things. And so that's why we haven't promoted it a ton yet.
Got it. Guys, we'll link Insurance Advertising Masters YouTube channel down in the description of this. Whether you're watching on the podcast platform or whether you're watching video on YouTube, we'll have it in the description. So if you want to go check that out, get more information over there, and subscribe to Justin's channel. Of course, it's great content. I watch it as much as I can when he puts out content, and I learn stuff pretty regularly, so like Justin puts out good content. Like it's not just like fluff, it's good stuff. Thank you for doing this, my friend. This was great, as always. This
Yeah.
is
Thank
real
you for
good.
having me on. I feel like we could do 10 of these episodes with how much you and I can talk about.
We could. Like I genuinely feel that there's like 100 things that we could talk about that we didn't get to, but we'll have to do a part two.
100%. We should do a Joe Rogan style one where it's like 3.5 hours.
I would be down, but I'd have to schedule it out, as I'm sure you would too. But I would totally do it. I would totally do it though, because I
I
think
would do it.
I think it would be a gold mine of great information and great content for everybody.
You smoke cigars?
I do. I haven't recently, but I enjoy it. I love it. I love them.
Should if the audience desires it, if they feel like that'd be valuable, well, you can either come to Omaha or I'll fly out to Utah. We'll shoot a episode at like a cigar bar or something. It'd be kind
I
of
love
fun.
it. Guys, if you want to see that, the only way we're going to know about it is by commenting. So like let us know in the comments if that's something that you want to see. And who knows, maybe we'll make it happen. All right, guys, if you like this episode, you want to see more like it, the only way I'm going to know, like, comment, subscribe, give 5-star reviews on podcast platforms if that's where you're listening, and we'll be back with you next time on another episode of Seven Figures or Bust. Thanks, everybody.